Hello, and welcome to today's video. Today we are swatching South by Bee's Knees Lacquer. It is a deep mahogany brown with a blue to violet shimmer. This was part of the craft collection. I was originally going to purchase 3x3, but decided it was too much like other polishes I already own. The undertone of this polish base is very yellow. I think you'll be able to see that from the stem of the brush. I had a mini panic attack during my first coat. I thought, oh no, I'm going to hate this. I was genuinely afraid. I was already planning who might be a good recipient for it. But then the second coat went on, and I did like it. It was an emotional roller coaster of my own making. I do think it's pretty good coverage in one coat. Rewatching the footage of the first coat makes me think you could also wear this in one if you wanted. I'm not going to do so because I want the darker, more opaque look of two coats. That yellow tint is a little too much for me in one coat. On camera, I feel like this is looking just a little more red, and it really isn't. So it's time for me to quibble with the official description yet again. I'm going to suggest that this is a brown umber color. I always think of mahogany as a more reddish brown, and that is not what is happening here. I'm having a hard time imagining who would need 3 coats. I'm sure there are some edge cases, but most of us will get this to full coverage in 2. Okay, quick editor's note. I have now gotten to the next day. I've removed the nail polish because I want to repaint. And I will say that I think this polish is actually a pretty good mix of both a red and a yellow tone. But somehow it does not appear like an orange. Don't ask me how that works. I don't understand. But I think I'm putting too much emphasis on how yellow this looks when there are some red tones in it. And I know from the sunshine shots that at certain angles there is a red shimmer. So it makes me wonder if the gold and red tones from the shimmer play with my perception of the base color. Normally I record all of the voiceover in a single day, so splitting it over 2 days has been an interesting endeavor. Hopefully I don't sound drastically different. So even though the base is pretty equally split between looking red or yellow, you can still see the deep brown base, and it is clearly brown and not a black. And the shimmer is almost always visible somewhere on the nail. This polish embodies that characteristic I like so much of no single element crowding out the others. So you do get some hollow, you get some shimmer, you get some of that base. On a slightly different note, I have decided to change my nail care routine. I have been having a lot of trouble with my skin being very rough and broken. Some of that is just my tendency to be very hard on my hands, but I think there are a few things that I'm doing that are making it worse. So I'm going to cut out using cuticle dissolvers. I'm going to retire my glass cuticle pusher. I've noticed some circular etching on my nails, and I think that's the cause. I just think those things are too harsh for my very fragile nails. If my nails look bad in the near future, it's because I'm trying out some new methods. In the meantime, we have been looking at the sunshot. You can see how that base looks like it is swinging between being a yellowish ochre brown over to a mahogany as I move over to the left. You can see that violet shimmer move over into more of a magenta. And as we're on that left side, I feel like you can see a little sliver of a red shimmer. There is the odd time I think the violet looks more of a cobalt color, just a little more blue. I have changed out my normal shade shot for a sun and cloud shot. The shade and the indoor shots I had were nearly identical, so I thought this would be a more interesting look at the polish. You can still see that violet shimmer into the cobalt, but I think the magenta, red, and gold are easier to see here. And this is where I became convinced there is a gold shimmer shift. I kept wondering why this polish reminded me of some of the same things I felt I had discussed before in other videos. Then I remembered Elden Beast. These two polishes are sort of like mirror images. This one is a sometimes yellow, sometimes reddish brown, with a purple violet shimmer. Elden Beast is a purple base with a golden mini flake. Their descriptions could give a very similar overall impression, but when I got the bottles side by side, they are not at all alike. They just happen to share some colors. This has gone onto my comparison list. Indoors, I think you can still tell that the base color is brown and not black, but the shimmers are now dimmed down only to the violet and cobalt. And that is all for today. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it when anyone watches my videos. Please enjoy a clip of my black squirrel going from being upset with me to completely ignoring my presence. Hello, squirrel. What's going on?